A very warm good evening to each and every one of you watching this session. Once again, welcome back to BioPoints in the World of Bio with yet another super amazing lecture on the chapter Human Reproduction. Today, a one-shot lecture is waited right in front of you for the Sweet NEET 2021 batch. So let's move on to this session with the full energy. Hope you all are perfectly ready for this session. Let's move on. Reminding you to join the Telegram group, and the direct link to join the Telegram group is given there in the description box. Yes, hope you all are a member and a part of BioPoint, even in our YouTube as well as in our Telegram group as well. Yes, do hit the like button, share it with your friends, and subscribe. BioPoint stream the world of bio for further session updates. Yes, and do press the bell icon to get the notifications of the video that we are uploading right in our path. Yes, so let's move on with our today's chapter of human reproduction. Hope you all are perfectly ready and fine to have this chapter completed after the end of the session. Yes, so let's move on with the very first slide. Humans are sexually reproducing and viviparous. The reproductive events in humans include the formation of gametes known as gametogenesis, that is sperms in male and ovum in females. All of you know that the two main types of gametes in humans is sperms, that is in case of males, and the gamete that is in case of females is the ovum. Yes, and after gametogenesis, what happens is that the sperms must be transported to the female genital tract. Yes, so such a process of transfer of sperms into the female genital tract is known as insemination. And that is the very second process of human reproduction. Yes, and after that, when the sperms reach the female genital tract, it moves on, continues to move, and what happens is that at a particular point or at a particular region or at a particular part, what happens? The fusion of male and female gametes occurs. Yes, and that leads to the formation of zygote, and this process is known as what? Fertilization. Is it clear? And this fertilization is followed by the attachment of the developed blastocyst or the embryo to the uterine wall. And such a process is known as what? Implantation. That is attachment of the developing blastocyst to the uterine wall is known as what? Implantation. Yes. And after that comes the gestation. That is the period of embryonic development. And after that is the last and final process, that is parturition, including the delivery of the baby. Is it clear? So we have learned right now 5 basic events of human reproduction. The very first event was gametogenesis. Yes, and after that we have learned about insemination. Third event, fertilization. Fourth event, implantation. Fifth event, gestation. And sixth event, parturition. These were the 6 events that we have learned right now. Yes. So what was gametogenesis? Gametogenesis was the formation of gametes. That is, there were 2 gametes in case of humans, that is in males, it is the sperms, and in here females, it is the ovum. Yes, and second process is the insemination, and that is including the transfer of sperms to the female genital tract. And after that comes the process of fertilization, that is the fusion of male and female gametes, leading to the formation of zygote. And after that comes implantation, that is the attachment of the developed blastocyst into the uterine wall. And the fifth process is the period of gestation, that is the period of embryonic development. And after that finally comes parturition, delivery of the baby. Is it clear? This is the basic 6 reproductive events in case of humans. And after this, what we are moving on is with the male reproductive system. Male reproductive system consists of primary sex organs such as a pair of testes suspended in a scrotum. So all of you know that a pair of testes, that is 2 testes, suspended in a pair of suspended in a sac-like structure called as what? Scrotum. So it is situated outside the abdominal cavity. Yes, and why such a position is what? Position is placed in such a position, this testis is placed in order to have such a low temperature in order for the sperm production. Yes, so this scrotum that is situated below the abdominal cavity maintains a low temperature that is essential for the production of sperms. Yes, so such a temperature will be 2 to 2.5 degrees Celsius lower than that of the normal body temperature. Yes, so that is the optimum temperature for the production of sperms. That is why testis is placed in a pouch outside the abdominal cavity called scrotum. Yes, secondary sex organs such as a pair of ducts, each differentiated into retitestis, vasa efferentia, epididymis, vas deferens, ejaculatory duct, and the associated glands. These are the secondary sex organs. Yes, including ducted glands. Yes, there is retitestis, vasa efferentia, epididymis, vas deferens, ejaculatory duct, and the further associated glands. And after that is included is the external male genitalia. Yes, that all, that is the primary sex organs, secondary sex organs, and the external genitalia, all these together constitute the male reproductive system. Is it fine? Is it fine till now? Okay. Thank you for your responses. So let's move on. So this is the diagram that is given in your NCERT of the male reproductive system. Yes. Here you can see certain structures. Let's look over that. Here you can see the testis situated in a pouch called scrotum. Then you can see the external genitalia called the penis. Then you can see the associated glands, prostate gland, yes, bulbourethral gland, and the seminal vesicles. Then you can see the vas deferens. After that, the glans penis, then the foreskin, ejaculatory duct, and all further associated structures are also observed in this diagram. Yes, this is the diagrammatic sectional view of the male pelvis showing the reproductive system, including all the male reproductive parts. Is it clear? So let's move on with the detailed theory of each and every organ or each and every part that is associated with the male reproductive system. Okay, so this is another diagram given. Yes, after moving on with the theory, we will be coming back to this diagram to look over what all structures are what we have learned right before in that slides. Yes, so let's move on. The testes are situated outside the abdominal cavity. Oh God. Outside the abdominal cavity in a pouch called as scrotum. Yes, and such a scrotum helps in maintaining a lower temperature of the testes necessary for spermatogenesis. Is it clear? Such a lower temperature is necessary for spermatogenesis. Fine. Each testis has about 250 testicular lobules, and each lobule contains highly coiled seminiferous tubules in which sperms are produced. So where are these sperms produced? These sperms are produced in highly coiled structures known as seminiferous tubules. Yes, present in each of those 250 testicular lobules. Is it clear? So each seminiferous tubule is lined by two types of cells. That is the male germ cell, also known as the spermatogonia, and the Sertoli cells. These are the two cells that is lining the seminiferous tubules. Yes, so spermatogonia, also known as the male germ cell, and Sertoli cells are those two cells. So what is the function of the Sertoli cells? Sertoli cells helps in the nourishment of the growing sperm. So a Leydig cell or interstitial cells present around the seminiferous tubules synthesis and secrete the androgen hormone. So the male hormone or the androgen hormone is secreted by Leydig cells or the interstitial cells. And that's a brief introduction about the male reproductive system. We have discussed about testis and why it is located in such a pouch outside the abdominal cavity. Where are the sperms produced? Yes, how many testicular lobules are present? What are the types of cells that is lining the seminiferous tubules, and the function of Leydig cells or interstitial cells. Is it clear? So let's move on to the next slide. Here a diagram is shown. Yes, showing seminiferous tubule that consists of interstitial cells, spermatogonia, spermatozoa or the sperms, yes, and the Sertoli cells. These are the structures that are present inside a seminiferous tubules. So we will learn about the order of or the sequence of spermatogenesis, all those things in the upcoming slides. Yes. So before moving on to that, let's complete the male reproductive system right now. Ejaculatory duct store and transport sperm from testis to outside through urethra, which originate from urinary bladder and extend through penis to its external opening, urethral meatus. So penis is the external male genitalia, and the enlarged end of the penis is known as what? Glans penis. Yes, and this glans penis is covered by a loose fold of skin called as the foreskin, and the male accessory glands include a pair of seminal vesicle, prostate gland, and paired bulbourethral gland. So the secretions of this seminal vesicles, prostate gland, paired bulbourethral gland, all those things are in the form of seminal plasma. Yes, and that consists of fructose, calcium, and other respective enzymes. Then what is the function of this, or what is the function of secretion of bulbourethral gland? Their secretion helps in the lubrication of the penis. Secretion of bulbourethral glands helps in the lubrication of this penis. So then what is the function of the seminal plasma? We haven't discussed that, right? What is the function of seminal plasma? Seminal plasma helps in the transportation of sperms. Yes, the very first point, that is seminal plasma helps in the transportation of sperms. Second point, supplies nutrients to sperms. Supplies nutrients to the sperms. What else? Provides alkalinity to counteract the acidity of that of the uterus. So it provides alkalinity to the sperms to counteract the acidity in the uterus of the females. Yes. And what is the function of this, or what is the secretions of Cowper's glands or bulbourethral gland functions? They help in the lubrication of the penis. So what is the seminal plasma? What is seminal plasma? Sorry, what is semen? Very sorry. What is semen? Seminal plasma along with sperms together constitute the semen. Is it clear? Seminal plasma along with sperms together constitute the semen. This is all about the male reproductive system. Yes, another point that we can add is that at the time of birth, yes, right at the time of birth, the testis descends into this. Testis descends outside this abdominal cavity in the scrotum. And such an opening through which the testis descends is known as what? Inguinal canal. Inguinal canal. This is the opening through which the testis descends into the scrotum. Yes. So we have learned all about the male reproductive system. So let's check it. Once again, let's have a recap on that. Yes. We have said that this male reproductive system includes a pair of testes along suspended in the scrotum along with the associated glands and the male external genitalia. We have learned about the functions of this testes, where it is situated, where are the sperms produced, what is the function of Leydig cells, all those things we have observed. Yes. And after that, we have said about the male external genitalia. Yes, what is the constitution of a semen? Yes, that is the seminal plasma along with sperms together constitute the semen. And after that, the function of the seminal plasma, function of the Cowper's gland or the bulbourethral glands, all those things we have covered right now. Yes. So, and now it's time to move on to the female reproductive system. Is it clear till now? Is it clear till now? Thank you so much for your responses. So let's move on to the female reproductive system. Oh God. Okay. Female reproductive system consisting of the primary sex organ, that is a pair of ovaries. Yes. Secondary sex organ, that is a duct consisting of a pair of fallopian tube, uterus, cervix, and the vagina. After that, it includes the external genitalia and the mammary glands. These are the structures that together constitute the female reproductive system. Pair of ovaries, fallopian tube, uterus, cervix, vagina, external genitalia, and the mammary glands. Is it clear? So let's move on. This is the diagram given in your NCERT of that of the female reproductive system. Here you can see the clitoris, yes, vagina, cervix, labium minora, labium majora, vaginal orifice, pubic symphysis, and the further associate structures. Is it clear? So let's move on. Ovaries are the primary sex organ that produce the female gamete and several steroid hormones. Each ovary is covered by a thin epithelium that encloses the ovarian stroma, which is divided into a peripheral cortex and an inner medulla. So the lining of the ovary, that is by a thin layer of epithelium, and that divides the ovarian stroma into a peripheral cortex and an inner medulla. Yes, and the fallopian tube that is extending from the periphery of the ovary to the uterus, and that is the part closer to the, so in the fallopian tube, the part that is closer to the ovary is called infundibulum. Yes, that is a funnel shaped structure having, and that have finger like projections called as the fimbriae. Yes, infundibulum leads to another region called as ampulla, and that join uterus, that join with uterus with the isthmus. Yes, so infundibulum, ampulla, and isthmus, and after that it is connected with the uterus. So what is uterus? It is a pear-shaped structure, also called as the womb of the mother. Yes, it is a region that provides accurate conditions for the development of the fetus. Yes, so it is called the womb of the mother. Uterus opens open vagina through a narrow cervix, and the cavity of cervix known as the cervical canal along with vagina forms the birth canal. Yes, cervical canal along with vagina forms the birth canal. Is it clear? And that's about the female reproductive system. And furthermore, things that is included in your NCERT, that is about the walls of the uterus. Yes, walls of the uterus. Then about the female external genitalia as well. Yes, so let's move on with that. The wall of the uterus has 3 layers of tissue. The very first one layer is the perimetrium, that is the external membrane. Inner to that, you have the myometrium, that is the middle thick layer of smooth muscles, and that exhibits strong contraction during parturition. During the process of parturition, this myometrial contraction results in the fetal ejection. Yes, that is the movement of the baby to outside. Okay. After that, the most or the innermost layer is the endometrium that undergoes cyclic changes during the menstrual cycle. If no fertilization of ovum occurs, this endometrial lining sheds from the uterus and is discharged along with blood and mucus. Is it clear? And that's about the three different layers of tissues on the wall of uterus. Is it clear about that? Is clear about that? After that comes the female external genitalia. Yes, the very first thing is the mons pubis. That is a question of fatty tissues covered by skin and pubic hair. After that comes labia majora. That is a fleshy fold that surrounds the vaginal opening. After that comes labia minora. That is, it's not minora, it's minora. M-I. Okay. That is a pair of folded tissue under labia majora. The tissue that is folded under the labia majora is known as what? Labia minora. Is it clear? After that, the opening of the vagina is partially covered by a membrane called as hymen. Yes, and the tiny finger-like projection present at the upper junction of two labia minora above the urethral opening is called the clitoris. Yes, clitoris is present at the junction of the two labia minora above the urethral opening. And at the time of the first sexual intercourse, what happens is that the hymen layer is just teared. So this is said as an indicator of virginity, but we cannot say this hymen as a reliable indicator of virginity because by a sudden fall or insertion of vaginal tampon or an active participation of sports, this hymen may automatically get torn. So we cannot say this hymen as a reliable indicator of virginity. Mammary glands are paired structures that contain glandular tissues and variable fats. Each glandular tissue contains 50 to 20 mammary lobes containing alveoli which secrete the milk. Yes, mammary ducts join to form mammary ampulla. Is it clear? This is all about the female external genitalia. Is it fine? So let's move on. So this is the diagram of a mammary gland given here. You can see mammary lobe right here, mammary alveolus, yes, mammary duct. Do connect it with the arrow given here in this diagram. You can see the ampulla, the lactiferous duct, the nipple, areola. Yes, all these different structures are given there in this diagram. And this is the diagram or a sectional view of a mammary gland. So let's move on. So that's all about the female reproductive system. Next, we are moving on with the next topic, gametogenesis, the one of the most important topic from this chapter. Yes. So after that, we have the menstrual cycle, fertilization, implantation, and finally, like pregnancy, parturition, and lactation. These are the topics that are rest for us to complete in this one short lecture. Yes. So let's move on with gametogenesis. What is gametogenesis? The process of formation of male and female gametes is known as what? Gametogenesis. So male gamete in the testes and female gamete in the ovary. Yes. So the process of formation of sperms is known as spermatogenesis, that is occurring in case of males, and process of formation of ova or egg is known as oogenesis, that is occurring in females. Yes. In case of spermatogenesis, in testes, immature male germ cells or spermatogonia produce sperm by the process of spermatogenesis that begin at the puberty. So what is the order of the spermatogenesis? Order of spermatogenesis. That is a spermatogonia undergoes mitosis to form spermatocytes Spermatogonia undergo mitosis to form spermatocytes. Yes, there will be primary spermatocyte and secondary spermatocyte. That is, the primary spermatocyte will undergo meiosis, and after that, the secondary spermatocyte is formed. And this spermatocyte, after undergoing the second meiosis, it forms the spermatids. Yes, spermatocytes forms the spermatids, and the spermatids undergo the process of spermiogenesis. What is spermiogenesis? The process of transformation of the spermatids to a spermatozoa is known as what? Spermiogenesis. So undergo spermiogenesis to form a spermatozoa, and the spermatozoa is also known as what? The sperm. Is it clear? So spermatogonia to spermatocyte to spermatids to the spermatozoa. Is it clear? Yes, and that is the process of spermatogenesis. So let's discuss all those things in detail. Is it clear? Yes. The spermatogenesis of God. Spermatogonia present at the inner side of spemniferous tubules multiply by mitotic division and increase in number. Yes, and each spermatogonium contain 46 chromosomes. So the haploidy will be 2n. It consists of 46 chromosomes. Therefore, the haploidy will be 2n. Okay. Spermatogonia forms spermatocyte that undergo meiotic division to reproduce secondary spermatocytes having 23 chromosomes. So after meiosis, the number of chromosomes is half to 23. Yes, and the spermatocytes are transferred to the spermatids, and the spermatids are transformed into the spermatozoa by the process called as spermiogenesis. Yes, and the sperm heads gets embedded in the Sertoli cells and are released from the seminiferous tubules by the process of spermiation. So what is spermiation? The release of the sperm heads that were embedded in the Sertoli cells is known as spermiation. Is it clear? Yes. So this is released in the lumen of the seminiferous tubules. That's about gametogenesis, that is spermatogenesis in males. So let's move on with the upcoming slide. Let's move on with the further slides. Hope each and everything till now is perfectly clear for you. Yes. So this is the diagram of a seminiferous tubule given in your NCERT. Here you can see the spermatozoa formed from a spermatogonium. Yes, converted into primary spermatocyte, then to secondary spermatocyte, after that to spermatids, and it is transferred to spermatozoa by the process of spermiogenesis. Yes, spermatids are converted to spermatozoa by the process of spermiogenesis. Is it clear? Yes. And one more process we have learned, and that is spermiation. That is the release of this embedded sperm heads from the Sertoli cells to the lumen of seminiferous tubules. Is it clear? Next is the hormonal control during the process of spermatogenesis. Spermatogenesis is initiated due to the increase in secretion of gonadotropin releasing hormone, that is the GnRH, by hypothalamus. Yes, increase in GnRH act on anterior pituitary, stimulating the secretion of two gonadotropin, that is LH and FSH, that is the luteinizing hormones and the follicle stimulating hormone. The LH act on Leydig cells and stimulate them to secrete androgens, and the FSH act on Sertoli cells and stimulate them to secrete some factors that are essential for the process of spermiogenesis. Is it clear? So after that, there comes the structure of a sperm that is composed of a head, neck, a middle piece, and a tail. The sperm head contains an elongated haploid nucleus, an area portion of which is covered by a cap-like structure called acrosome, which contains specific enzymes that dissolves the wall of the ovum. Yes, Certain enzymes called as hyaluronidase. Yes, that what engulfs the wall of the ovum. Yes, everyone. So let's move on with the further slides. So the structure of sperm is denoted by a diagram here consisting of a sperm head, an acrosome, yes, a neck, middle piece, and a tail. And the sperm consists of, the middle piece consists of a mitochondria that provides the energy that is essential for the lashing movement of the tail. Is it fine? Is it fine? After that, we have to learn about the oogenesis, the process of oogenesis. So human male ejaculates 200 to 300 million sperms during a coitus. Seminal plasma along with sperms constitute the semen, and the function of the male axillary glands are maintained by the androgen hormones. And after that comes the process of oogenesis. That is the formation of mature female gametes is known as oogenesis. Yes, started during embryonic development stage when millions of oogonia are formed in the fetal ovary. The gamete mother cells start division and enter into prophase 1 of meiotic division and get temporarily arrested at the stage called primary oocytes. Each primary oocyte gets surrounded by a layer of granulosa cell and then it is called as the primary follicle. At puberty, 60,000 to 80,000 primary follicles are left in the ovary, and the primary follicles get surrounded by more layers of granulosa cells called the secondary follicle, and that transform into tertiary follicle that contain a fluid-filled cavity called as the antrum. So the secondary follicle undergoes its transformation to form the tertiary follicle in containing a fluid-filled cavity called as what? The antrum. Is it fine? So the tertiary follicle further changes into mature follicle called Graafian follicle, which ruptures to release secondary oocytes or the ovum from the ovary by the process of ovulation. Is it clear? So this ovary, what the ovum is released from the ovary by the process of ovulation. Yes. So head of the sperm we have discussed, that is with the help constituted by nucleus and acrosome. Acrosome consists of an enzyme known as hyaluronidase. Yes. And the tail consists of central axial filament passing through it. And the lashing moment of the tail is controlled by the energy produced by the mitochondria in the middle piece. Is it clear about that? And after that, we have discussed about the oogenesis. Yes, how a primary oocyte is converted to secondary, primary oocyte is converted to a primary follicle, then to secondary follicle, tertiary follicle, then to a mature Graafian follicle, and how the process of ovulation is occurring. All those things we have covered. Is it clear? And here a diagrammatic representation of ovary is given, how corpus luteum is formed after the release of this ovum from the Graafian follicle. A yellow colored structure is formed inside this. Colored structure is formed inside this ruptured Graafian follicle known as the corpus luteum. Is it clear? Is it clear on that? And here figure A shows spermatogenesis and figure B shows oogenesis. Yes. At puberty, spermatogonia to primary spermatocytes to secondary spermatocytes, spermatids to spermatosoma, and in case of females, oogonia to primary spermatocyte converted to secondary oocyte to ovum. Is it clear about that? That's all about spermatogenesis and oogenesis, and now we are moving on with menstrual cycle. So if it is clear till now, give me thumbs up on the screen. Thank you so much for your responses. So let's move on with menstrual cycle. The reproductive cycles in female primates is called as the menstrual cycle, starting at puberty called menarche and ending at the age of 50, almost at the age of 50, or cessation of menstrual cycle is known as what? Menopause. Yes, and this menstrual cycle includes 4 different phases called as the menstrual phase, follicular phase, ovulatory phase, luteal phase. All those things are the different phases of the menstrual cycle. So let's discuss each of those phases in detail. Yes, and a diagram is given here. This is only understood after discussing the theory of menstrual cycles. Menstrual phase. In a 28 days menstrual cycle, the menses takes place on the cycle days 3 to 5. The production of LH from the anterior lobe of pituitary is reduced at this time. So during menstrual phase, what happens is that LH production is reduced. Withdrawal of this hormone causes the degeneration of corpus luteum and therefore progesterone production is reduced. Yes, progesterone production is also reduced. Production of estrogen is also reduced in this phase. Endometrium and uterus breaks down and menstruation begins. Yes, endometrium of uterus, not endometrium and uterus. Endometrial lining of the uterus breaks down along with blood and mucus and menstruation occurs. Yes, the cells of endometrium secretions blood and unfertilized ovum constitutes the menstrual flow, and that's all about the menstrual phase. Yes, look here, right at the beginning of 3 to 5 days, the FSH and LH what production is decreased. Yes, and that results in the menstrual flow. After that comes the follicular phase or the proliferative phase. Yes, follicular phase occurring from the 5th to or the 6th to the 13th day or 14th day of a menstrual cycle. This phase is usually includes cycle of days 6 to 13. Okay, usually 6 to 13. The 14th day is remarked as the ovulatory phase, or the ovum is released at the 14th day in a 28-day menstrual cycle. The follicle stimulating hormone or FSH secreted by anterior lobe of pituitary stimulates the ovarian follicle to secrete estrogens. So FSH secretions stimulate the ovarian follicle for the further secretion of estrogens. Estrogen stimulates the proliferation of endometrium of the uterine wall, and the endometrium becomes thicker by a rapid cell multiplication. And this is accompanied by increase in uterine glands and blood vessels. Is it clear? That's about follicular phase. Let's move on with ovulatory phase. Ovulatory phase is occurring on the 14th day of the menstrual cycle. LH and FSH attain a peak level in the middle of this cycle. Estrogen concentration in blood increases. Rapid secretion of LH induces the rupturing of Graafian follicle, thereby release of ovum by a process called as ovulation. In fact, LH causes ovulation. So ovulation is occurring by a rapid LH surge. Rapid LH surge or high secretion or a rapid secretion of LH induces the rupturing of Graafian follicle, initiating the process of ovulation. And after that comes the luteal phase occurring from the 14th to the 28th day. Yes, or the 15th to the 28th day. Corpus luteum secretes progesterone, endometrium thickens, and uterine glands become secretory. These are the forces that are occurring in a luteal phase. So we have covered about the menstrual phase, ovulatory, follicular phase, ovulatory phase, and luteal phase, and the time span of each of these different phases in a menstrual cycle. So after that, let's discuss the hormonal control during the menstrual cycle. If it stimulates the ovarian follicle to produce estrogens, yes, LH stimulates corpus luteum to secrete progesterone. Menstrual cycle phase is caused by increase in production of estrogens. LH causes or LH surge causes ovulation. Proliferative phase is caused by increased production of estrogens. Secretory phase is caused by increased production of progesterone. These are the different hormonal control of menstrual cycle. Is it clear till now? Is it clear till now? Thank you so much for your responses. So let's move on with fertilization and implantation. And after that, we have cortical reaction. And after that, pregnancy and embryonic development, then parturition and lactation. Yes, few more slides are left. So let's move on with full energy. Hope you all are here without any boredom. So let's move on with fertilization and implantation. Fertilization. The process of fusion of sperm with ovum is called as what? Fertilization. During coitus or copulation, semen is released into the vagina. The motile sperm swim rapidly to reach the junction of isthmus and ampulla of fallopian tube. Yes, they swim rapidly to reach the junction of isthmus and ampulla of fallopian tube. The ovum also reaches that region and fusion of gametes takes place at the ampullary isthmic junction, and that is the site of fertilization. Ampullary isthmic junction of fallopian tube is the site of fertilization. In this, acrosome sperm undergoes acrosomal reaction and releases certain sperm lysins which dissolve the egg envelope, that is certain enzyme called hyaluronidase locally, and make the path for the penetration of the sperm into the ovum. These sperm lysins containing a lysine enzyme hyaluronidase which dissolves the hyaluronic acid polymers in the intercellular spaces which holds the granulosa of the corona radiata together. And this corona penetrating enzymes, corona radiata is the covering of this ovum, and the corona penetrating enzyme dissolves the corona radiata. And acrosin dissolves zona pellucida layer. Yes, and then what happens? The process of fertilization is completed. That is, a fusion of sperm with ovum is completed. Cortical reaction. Immediately after the entry of sperm into the egg, later shows a cortical reaction to check the entry of more sperms. In this reaction, the cortical granules present beneath the egg plasma release chemical substance between the ooplasm and plasma membrane. So a chemical substance is released between the ooplasma and the plasma membrane or the Michelin membrane. Yes, so these substances raise the Michelin membrane above the egg surface, and the elevated Michelin membrane is called the fertilization membrane. The increase the space between ooplasm and fertilization membrane and the chemical present in it effectively check the entry of sperm. If polysomy occurs, that is more than one sperm enter the secondary oocyte, resulting the cell has too much genetic material to develop normally. Yes, so polyspermy occurs, that is if more than one sperm enters the ovum. What happens? One sperm enters the secondary oocyte, too much genetic material to develop the sperm normally. That is resulting in the formation of a twin baby. Yes, if two sperms are entering and fusing that with that of the ovum, two nucleus are formed, and that results in the formation of two zygotes or two fetus. Yes, and that is how a twin baby is formed. Is it clear? Is it clear till now? The haploid gametes. Oh God. Yes. So the haploid gametes fuse together to form a diploid zygote. As zygote move towards uterus, mitotic division starts from cleavage change into 2, 4, 8, 16 cell blastomere. So 2 cell blastomere is formed first, then 4 cell, then 8 cell, then 16 cell. Blastomeres with 8 to 16 cell is known as what? A morula. And the morula divide to change into blastocysts. Yes, blastomeres in the blastocyst are arranged into an outer layer called as what? Trophoblast. Trophoblast is the outer layer of the blastocyst. An inner group of cells attached to the trophoblast called as what? The inner cell mass. So trophoblast and inner cell mass together constitute this blastocyst. So outer layer of blastocyst called the trophoblast attached with the endometrium of the uterus, and that called implantation leads to pregnancy. So attachment of this developed blastocyst or the developing blastocyst to the endometrial lining of the uterus is known as what? Implantation. Is it clear? Is it clear? And after that, you have pregnancy and embryonic development and parturition and lactation. Yes, so let's move on. Hope it's perfectly fine till now. Each and every topic we have discussed is clear for you guys. Yes. Let's move on with pregnancy and embryonic development. The finger-like projections on trophoblast after implantation is called the chorionic villi, that along with uterine wall forms functional unit between the developing embryo and maternal body called placenta. Yes, what is placenta? It is a functional unit between developing embryo and maternal body. Yes, placenta is attached with the fetus with the help of an umbilical cord, and that transport food and oxygen to the embryo from mother to the fetus. Transport of food and oxygen from mother to the fetus, and the removal of this excretory products from the fetus to the mother's body is called as what? Is done with the help of what? Umbilical cord. Hormones, that is HCG, human chorionic gonadotropin, HPL, human placental lactogen, and relaxin are produced in women only during pregnancy by placenta. Yes, after implantation, the inner cell mass of the embryo differentiates into an outer layer called as the ectoderm, an inner layer called as the endoderm. Yes, these all are the different germinal layers. A mesoderm soon appears after the between the ectoderm and the endoderm. So the layer between ectoderm and endoderm is called as what? The mesoderm. These three layers give rise to all tissues, that is tissues and organs in adults. It is important to note that the inner cell mass contains certain cells called stem cells, which have potency to give rise to all the tissues and organs. In humans, after 1 month of pregnancy, very important, the embryo's heart is formed. By the end of 2nd month, limbs and digits are formed. Yes. By the end of 12 months, major organs and external genital organs are well developed, and the first movement of the fetus is observed in 5 months. And by the end of 24 weeks, body is covered with fine hair, eyelids, eyelashes are formed, and at the end of 9 months, fetus is fully developed. This is how development is occurring in an embryo and how pregnancy is occurring as well. Is it clear? So now we are moving on with the last and final topic called parturition. Yes, parturition. Parturition is the process of delivery of the fully developed fetus. Yes, delivery of the fully developed fetus. Signals of parturition originate from the fully developed fetus and the placenta, inducing mild uterine contraction called fetal ejection reflex, and that triggers the release of oxytocin. What is oxytocin? That is the birth hormone from the maternal pituitary. The mammary glands of females start producing milk at the end of pregnancy by the process of lactation. Yes, the milk produced during the initial days of lactation is called as the colostrum, which is slightly yellowish in color and contain several antibodies that are necessary for the growth of the baby. Yes, so breastfeeding is advised by the doctors during the initial period of the growth of the infant. Is it clear? Is it clear? So thus we have successfully completed the chapter of human reproduction in a one-shot lecture. Thanks for watching, and it's me signing out from your favorite and my favorite BioPoint Stream, the world of bio. Bye-bye.